It's FoxMind Week. That's right, this week we're going to be celebrating that French-Canadian company that makes awesome games that have a bit of an educational bent to them. That's right, all week long we're going to be posting videos they've sent us, we're going to post some videos of our own about FoxMind, and I thought we could kick the whole week off with an interview with their head of sales, one Mr. Jake Beauchemin. Let's check it out. All right, and here we are with Jake Beauchemin from FoxMind Games. How are you doing today, Jake?
Yeah, I'm doing awesome. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we met back at in August, I believe. August? Yeah, at Gen Con.
Yeah.
And you showed me some of the awesome games you guys have for us to play. It was pretty exciting stuff. I got a kick out of the Deadlines.
Deadlines, yeah absolutely.
That one seemed like a lot of fun. I don't know why. There's just I've got a bit of a morbid side to me, so...
Yeah, it's a fun way to kind of do trivia, a little new angle.
Exactly. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So, Jake, for those who aren't familiar with FoxMind, can you give us kind of like a bird's eye view? What is FoxMind?
Yeah, absolutely. So FoxMind started in 2002, so we're a little bit over 20 years old. And
finally
we are,
drank.
yeah, and we are, and we are a global organization. We have a location in Israel, and our products are sold all over the world. And we were founded with a couple of core principles. We're the smarter fun company, and so we like to kind of have a little bit of an educational, intelligent spin on our games. They're fun and quick to play. One of the series that really kind of put us on the map was our Brain Builder series. We've been selling this for going on 2 decades, and there's a whole bunch of games in that line like Equilibrio, Architecto, Tangramino. And so that sort of built up the line over the years. And we've sold more than 10 million games worldwide since 2002.
That's fantastic. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so how did the company get started? You say you're like a global brand and everything. Like, tell us a bit about that story. That. Yeah,
absolutely. So David Capone is our founder and CEO, and he and a couple of partners started the company. They had been in the toy industry for well over a decade at that time, and really there were a couple of focuses on the educational side. They had existing contacts within teachers' organizations and places like that, and really wanted to bring fun into the classroom. And so this was just like kind of a great path for them to do it. And so through their connections that they had in the toy industry, and particularly in gaming, and some of their background in engineering and things like that, they took a risk, and they put a couple of games in the market and saw some success, and kind of just slowly built the organization from there.
That's fantastic. That's great. Yeah. So is FoxMind, their main focus, is that on like educational games, or what's the age range?
Yeah, so about a third of our games we would classify as kids games.
Okay.
And so these are 4 and up. We do have a couple of preschool titles, but largely 4 up, 6 up, 7 up, and they are games that are educational and like graduated puzzles and things like that, like By the Book, which we went over together.
Yeah.
But the educational part is somewhat hidden behind animals and other trendy things and themed things that kids find fun. So they're doing math, but maybe they don't know about it. So it's not so because kids run from math, right? So,
oh yeah.
So yeah. So we just find clever ways to sort of, teach balance, the dexterity, hand-eye coordination, logic, in ways that's very approachable for kids. A lot of our games are graduated puzzles. So the first few in something like Equilibrio, where you're balancing blocks, are very, very easy, and they teach you the fundamentals of the game, and then it just slowly progresses from there.
Nice. So as you go, they get more difficult and more difficult, and they have to
sort of
use the skills they've learned from the game.
Exactly right.
I love that.
Yeah, so that would be about a third of the line. Another third of the line are more like family games, and these are more multi-generational. So when we design family games, we want like the parents and grandparents to also have fun.
Okay.
So we try to put some, in the same way that a movie will be for kids, but it'll have some little nuggets in there for parents and grandparents. Same approach to toys, where we try to make some components of the games that'll be fun for the adults. So maybe the kids won't get all that strategy and get into those layers, but the parents and grandparents, will, because kids go into the closet and they want to play the same game 50 days in a row. And the parents are going to hide it if it's no fun for them too. So we like to encourage like all generations to have a good time.
Absolutely. As the parent of both a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, I know exactly what you are talking about. Not that I would ever hide any games from my kids, but
except Monopoly.
There are some. If it's a good version, if it's a good good fun, interesting version of Monopoly, then we'll talk like a Lord of the Rings Monopoly or something. Then then we can go with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about you? How long have you been involved in like the board game industry or the toy industry and stuff?
Yeah, so I've been in CPG overall, consumer goods, for 17 years. I have been in toys for about the last 5. And I started with a puzzle and game company, Game Right and Seco Puzzles.
Okay.
So I was there for a while, and then I spent a couple of years in dolls and collectibles with a Spanish-based company, IMC Toys. So I worked there, and then I joined FoxMind earlier this year, so in April of this year.
Okay.
I had worked with David in the past just because, he's got his tentacles kind of all over the industry for the last very long time. And so we knew of each other and we'd worked together on some projects. And he reached out and he said, look, we're trying to put a new reinvigorated focus on the U.S. market. And it's hard for us to do that from Montreal, Canada.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the U.S. and I've been in this market for a very long time. So I understand some of the nuances that make the U.S. market what it is, and so we sort of partnered up.
Is there a board game that you played maybe when you were a kid that kind of like made you fall in love with the whole gaming industry? Or
I mean, it's gonna really date me, and you can tell probably by my hairline.
I'm right there with you.
That I've been around a while, but I grew up with like Parcheesi and AC-Deuce and so, all I liked those games they were very easy to learn, like to understand, but actually like if you played really good players in those kind of games, like my mother and I played cribbage growing up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she was so good at it, but again, you could explain it to an 8-year-old in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not a hard game. So games like that had an element of strategy. They were more abstract, in those days,
of course,
than they are today. But for sure, I was, and of course, like Uno and all of those games on the card side, were games that I played quite a bit as a kid.
Nice. I just realized I may have cut you off a little bit earlier. What was the third? You said you divided it into 3s. Like a third is for younger kids. The middle third is for the whole family. What's the other third?
Yeah, and the other third is kind of it's a little bit of a catch can of the bulk of the rest of our business, but I would say it's sort of evenly split between an approachable party game like you were referencing Deadlines, and what we would call kind of impulse grab and go games.
Okay.
That, are at $15 US and less, that are just kind of grab and go. So something like Speedy Words, which is just you flip over a tile and you shout out a category that starts with a letter, or Slam Words, which is a great travel game where you just roll the dice inside, slam it down, and shout out a word, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The idea there is just like simple, quick, approachable, grab and go, giftable, stocking stuffer kind of games.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure that my 7-year-old, as he was like learning to read and everything, he's a voracious reader. But as he was kind of like learning everything, we had a version of Slam Words, and
nice.
He loved playing that. He loved it. He would just, shake it up and slam it down, and then We'd pass it around, me,
the
him, and his mom.
simplicity of something like that, and it's so great that it's self-contained, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, your kids
Take it
aren't
in
going to
the car.
lose the dice.
It's great.
You throw it in the car, you throw it in a backpack, you bring it with you camping or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just really, really nice.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I got to, I got to beat him as much as I wanted because I've got a much larger vocabulary.
Well, the other thing that's cool is, we like to encourage creativity too. So I've heard like a million different ways that people play slam words. It's not like, doesn't have this 20-page rule book with here's how you have to play it.
Yeah.
So there are people that have, we make sure the words have to be this and this many letters, or, there's all kinds of variations that you can do with that game. So it's a lot of fun in that regard too.
That's great. And it's nice that it's like, it's its own self-contained thing. And I like the idea that you can build on to it with whatever rules you want to put onto it. That's
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So how do you guys, I mean, you guys have a ton of different games. How do you guys go about figuring out which games you want to make or which ones you want to acquire? How does that work?
Yeah, so this is the hardest thing, right? You have a highly competitive shelf. There's so many great game companies out there, so many more great game designers. So what we do, we have a lot of industry contacts, but we do encourage game designers and inventors of all sizes, ages, shapes, and colors to meet us at trade shows and things like that, to submit via email. So we get lots and lots and lots of tremendous submissions. And then we kind of go through our pillars. Does it apply to smart or fun for us? Does it meet that it's easy to learn and quick to play? Could it potentially be multi-generational? Like, what path within and staying true to who we are is it? So you cut 60 or 70 or 80% down kind of right there, right? Because it might be a great game, but it's just not for us.
Yeah.
And then from there, we start to refine it into a path. Can we cost it effectively? And so this whole process, takes 12 to 18 months, really.
Wow.
And we work with game designers quite intimately. We'll work with them on the copy and content and all of that stuff. And we have in-house and outside illustrators. It's a real collaboration amongst a great team of people to put it together.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Oh, it's so much fun. And one thing that David, our owner, is really great about is keeping the organization very flat and encouraging like everyone to participate. So when we have play tests, accounting is in the play testing, and customer service, and people get their kids in, and we have like all these different sessions, and there's just great discussion and collaboration and diversity of opinion.
Wow, I love that. So you haven't been there super long, but what would you say is something that you're proud of with the company?
Yeah, I think that we are really true to who we are, and we're really true to our values. And I think and we're consistent about it.
Yeah.
I think we try to build long-term partnerships. We aren't always just guided by like this corporate North Star, this like chase for profitability at all costs. Like, we really try to think about relationships in the long term. We try to, build meaningful relationships. And the same thing we do with our customers through the products that we buy. Like, we try to be as eco-friendly as we possibly can. So you're not throwing away an enormous amount of useless packaging, or can we make this component in wood instead of plastic, or things like that. And it's because we want to be true to who we are through our and give the value to the customers over the long term, because it's not about just getting one person to buy slam words, right? We want them to come back and buy and try Equilibrio or buy the book or Deadlines or some of these other products.
Madness, I see that over your shoulder.
And then the kids become parents, right? And then they have kids, right? And they're coming back to us, right? So they got
that trusted brand recognition. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so I've been in several companies over the years, and and it's easy. Well, not easy, but it's typical to look at dollars and cents, right? And it's a business, and everybody's trying to make money. And I think that, FoxMind, of course, does that. We're responsible in that way, but we do very much think about the big picture, and trying to, the triple bottom line, right? People, profit, planet. I think it's really important to us.
Absolutely, and I think that's, just across the board. I think that's, especially in the gaming world, people who are, drawn to games and board games and puzzles and stuff. I think they're appreciative of people who...
Yeah, there's an alignment for sure, right?
Yeah.
We're the off-screen people, right?
Exactly.
We're the people that are trying to get kids off screens, and we're trying to get off screens, and we're trying to, get around the table, right?
Yeah.
It's like
the resurgence
human beings that happened about, the social media, about how about just come over to my house and let's sit across the table and see who's better at slam words or at any of these games. So I think it's totally alignment with where it's going.
Yeah, I don't want to take too much more of your time. Are there any? I see you got deadlines and Match Madness over your shoulder right there. Are there any games coming out, or some of your newer games that you want to just kind of give a quick plug to, or?
A couple of, sure. I'm happy to. We've got a lot of great games coming out in 2024. There's a couple of really good party games. I don't want to do too much name dropping.
Sure, absolutely.
But we have a line, a sweets line. There are 2 games in that line today. One is Conezilla, one is Chocolat and Chocolatey for the U.S. Side of things. And those have been very successful for us. So we have a new sweets line game that's coming out next year. Nice. It has a little bit of light strategy in it. I think it's going to be super fun, and people are going to love it.
Okay.
The game testing is excellent. It's a first-time game designer. He's an amazing guy. So we really wish him well, and we're excited about that. We also are re-releasing a mini upgrade to our Match Madness, which is our #1 game in the whole line. Yeah. We're adding 40 more puzzles via digital download in a QR code inside.
Okay.
I know it's a little geeky, but you just scan the QR code on your phone, you drop it down on the table, and it acts just like a card.
That's
and then
great.
We're not throwing away, we're not printing extra stuff, but we're giving more value to the consumer. So that's going to come out in early next year, and we're super excited. And we're not raising price or anything like that. We're keeping our great price and just adding some more value into the box.
Okay, so then my last question, what's the future look like for FoxMind?
Yeah, so the future is bright for us. 2023 has been a really amazing year. Our cornerstone games, our core games, are way up this year, thanks to partners like RU Game and some of our amazing partners overseas that have done terrific work with us on growing some of these brands and increasing our market penetration. So we were just trying to build on that for 2024. We are leaning a little bit more in 2024 into the party segment, just as we've had this great launch with Deadlines, and it's been a successful game for us. It's kind of shown us how we can do a FoxMind game, but in that market. So we are going to be expanding out there, and there's some other great new mechanisms and great new graduated puzzles that we're excited to launch in 2024.
That's wonderful. All right. Well, Jake, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and I look forward to seeing you at the next Gen Con.
I appreciate it so much, Joe. And, we'll definitely touch base at Gen Con. It was great to see you.
Perfect. All right. Have a great one.
Have a good afternoon.
Bye. Hey, did you like that video? Why not run down there and give it a little like? Or write in the comments what you liked about it. Better yet, you could hit this button right here to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with all our fun videos. Speaking of those fun videos, you can click right here to watch some of them, huh? And if you're watching this on your phone and I'm just kind of doing this and there's no buttons over there, just use your imagination. Okay, bye, love you.